So maybe you're like me and you lately have been thinking, boy, I kind of miss my old iPod. I think that I would enjoy having that around again. But you don't really want to spend the money on like an old iPod Classic and then fix it up to have all of the modern features and things, because nowadays you can buy one and you can modify it so that you've got USB-C and you can sometimes even have Bluetooth in them and a bigger battery and all of that. But you don't know what you want to purchase because you go on Amazon or Alibaba or not Alibaba, AliExpress or Temu or whatever, and there's like 17 million different Chinese MP3 players, and you don't know which one is like the one to get. I'm not here to tell you that the one that we're talking about today is the one to do that, but this is the first episode of a series that I think I'm tentatively going to call like "So You Miss Your iPod." So basically, my plan is to just start going through the various different MP3 players that are available on Amazon at various price points and see if I can find one that feels like a genuine good replacement for an iPod. So without further ado, our first entry into this is I believe it is the Swofy D30, maybe it's the D50. Does it say on the back? Yeah, D50. Turn it on so you can see kind of how long it takes to turn on. It's pretty quick once you actually get it going. Now, let's see if I can get the focus on the screen a little more. There we go. So you've got a few things going on here. You've got your music, obviously. You can set favorites in your music. It has Bluetooth, so if you want to, you can use your Bluetooth. I want to say that generally Bluetooth sounds a little better on this thing. The built-in, whatever the built-in like DAC amp that it uses is volume-wise is fine, but especially I've got a old. Here, actually, hang on, let's go to the settings really quick. You can see how that works. Display setting, brightness, backlight timer, always on, screensaver, nothing. Let's see, is there anything about, power saving? Nope, not what I want. Timing shutdown. Date and time. Well, I don't know. We'll see if the display setting that I did keeps that on. So anyway, back to it. It's got Bluetooth. The built-in DAC amp it's okay. I don't think it necessarily sounds like bad, but I've been doing some back-to-back. I have an old iPod Classic 4th Gen mono, and I've gone back and forth with the music on this and the music on this. Files are the same. They're all just like the Apple standard, like AAC, so it's lossy, but it's just what I had to work with for right now. I don't have like a big lossless library to pull from, but this definitely sounds much better than this does by default. You can do some EQing with this one. It has that built in and it makes it sound better, but even with that, I think it just doesn't sound like whatever's built in is just not as high quality as what Apple had, which makes sense because this is like, I paid $30 for this, but I think that they have variants of it that are $20. It's pretty cheap. Build quality is decent. It's actually, these fronts this is plastic, and I mean maybe there's some glass under here or something, but I think it's basically plastic front and back, kind of a piano black, so lots of fingerprints. Although, I mean, you don't see them too much unless they catch the light, but yeah, definitely fingerprinty. The sides I think are actually metal. And it feels pretty good. Like I would say build quality wise, it feels decent. I haven't noticed anything like really wrong. Got USB-C on the bottom, and a headphone jack. It's got a little, I think this is a microphone actually. I'm not sure why, but it has it. Oh, because you can, it has like a little record mode. Let's see if it shows. I think it's under tools. Yeah, you can actually use it as like a little, like a tape recorder kind of thing. So you got your tools. Folder, I would not use this because my experience has been when you open the file folder, you can't get back out of it. So you have to turn the device off and turn it back on to get out of the file folder, which obviously is not really ideal. You've got your settings. Under your settings, you have languages, you have display settings. The display is just brightness, backlight timer, screensaver. You have the button light mode. So these buttons, you can have them always on, off, or on. If you have them off, then like when you tap the buttons, no light comes on. If you go to always on, and they're just always on, I feel like that's kind of a lot. So I settle on just on, which is that when you tap a button, as you can see, it lights up. So it just kind of gives you a little bit of feedback that it's on. Power saving shutdown, you can set, how long you want it to just idle before it actually turns itself off. I have it set for 60 minutes for now, but you could go much shorter than that. Battery life has been pretty good on this thing. I've not done like a full drain it, just leave it running until it drains, but I have generally, it seems like standby is really good. When you have it turned off, the battery doesn't just like drain all the way out. So I think that I've had this sitting in my car for about a week and it's lasted most of that time. So it's charged up. I charged it up at some point, so it didn't have like one tick off after a week, but I would say that it's probably good for about that long. Timing shutdown, which I think, let's see, I guess that means that you can like set an amount of time until it just shuts down on its own. Date and time, speaker on, off. Yeah, it has a built-in speaker. It doesn't sound very good. I guess if you like want to listen to your music through like a tiny kind of bad speaker, you could do that, but I feel like that sort of defeats the point of a device like this. I feel like the point of you getting this is because you want to listen to stuff on your headphones on the go. If you were just going to listen through the speaker, I don't know why you wouldn't just listen through your phone speaker. Information, that just tells you like player information, which doesn't really tell you very much. Version 1 and the software date, yeah, I mean, it's whatever. And then you've got disk space, which just tells you, think, how much is left? No, it just doesn't tell you anything? Okay, well, I guess, there we go. Yeah. As you probably have been seeing, performance on this thing, pretty slow. The buttons, also, if you press them too fast, they don't register sometimes. So you have to be patient with it. Volume limit, you can max it at 31, but this just lets you, say, do I want it to be all of the volume or do I want to set it to a lower volume, whatever. Format device and then factory settings, which are basically both just like reset to factory defaults kind of thing. So yeah, those are all the settings. So you've got your tools, you have a radio. If you want to use the radio, you have to have headphones plugged in because I guess it uses the headphones as like an antenna. I've not messed with it too much because I don't really listen to the radio, but if that's something that's of interest to you, this can be like a little radio player. You can look at pictures, but the screen is like a 1.8, 128 by 128 or something like that. I don't know. It's not like a high-res screen, so I don't know why you would look at pictures. Same thing with ebooks. It supports them. I don't really think that you're going to be sitting here reading ebooks on this tiny screen, but you could if you wanted to. And then you've got the recording. So I could see this potentially being used for this as like a little like recorder, like tape recorder type thing that you pop out for if you're like, a kid doing interviews for school or, or something like that. But I haven't really tested it. I'm sure the quality is not very good. I would say that probably the most impressive thing about this is that you get 128 gigs of storage, so it can store a good bit of music without having to add an additional SD card slot, although it does have it. I put an SD card in, but apparently my SD card is like I don't know, the one that I put in there seems to be broken or something because it won't register or show anything that I put on there. But like you said, plays music. It's pretty simple. It's probably about the size of like an iPod Nano, like what would it be, a 5th gen, maybe even like a 3rd gen iPod Nano. Not the one that was like the little squat, the little fat one, but probably like a 3rd gen or a 5th gen. Then as far as music, you can go to, it breaks it down into your albums and genres and things. All of this is going to be dependent upon like how you upload your files, if they're like the metadata and them is proper. But you can look at your different artists and you can kind of go through. Generally, you can, select individual albums, or you can, let's see, if you go to the artist, you can like pick, for example, I think it automatically sorts by album. So if you have an artist on there, that's what it's going to take you to, is a folder full of the albums. I think generally the organization of it like makes sense, but if you have a pretty large library, it is not quick to get through because this is what it is. Like you can hold that down, but like this is how fast it scrolls. So if you have tons of artists, it's going to take a long time for you to get to what you want to listen to. And then when you go in and you come back out, it takes you back up to the top. So not the best UI. I think it's could use some work basically, but also I doubt that is going to happen with this device because it's obviously very cheap, and I don't think the company is probably going to spend a lot of time on it. Got all songs, so you can see everything in here. The way that it lists them is just going to be like, the track number and then the name, and then it'll show like what type of file it is. So in these cases, they're .m4as. You can make playlists. So if you go to, if you update playlists, I think that's like if you're using a third-party app, basically to organize your playlists on like, say Foobar or something like that, it'll probably sync with that. Okay. I say that as it's sitting here struggling. Usually what happens when I have done this is it'll go 3% and then it'll basically jump to 100% after a little bit. Yeah, see, it's moving faster now. Update finished. I don't think that would have done anything, to be honest, because I don't think I have any playlists, so that was just wasting a bunch of time for no reason. But yeah, so you've got your genres and everything. Like basically the folder structure is the same as you get on like an iPod, but they're like little foibles that just, I think, kind of kill the usefulness of it. Again, the fact that you go into an artist, if you go down and then you select them, then you back out, now you're back up at the top, that's annoying. The fact that you can't do something where you're like, I want to listen to this artist's whole catalog, you can't do that if you have multiple albums from one artist. So let me see, yeah, like you've got everything here, but you can't say like, I want to listen to everything from this artist. And then all these names are weird because I pulled them from the iPod, and the way that Apple makes that work, when you pull it off of the iPod, the file names don't look right. So in something like Foobar on your computer, it'll give you the correct name because it's pulling it from the metadata. On this, I'm sure there's a way that I could organize it better so that it would actually pop up that way. But mostly the way that I've used this has been like, throw it in my car, go to all songs. There you go, being kind of slow, hit play, and then when you're listening, so obviously you can hear it's playing through the speaker now. Let's pause that so I don't get copyright struck or whatever. When you are in a song, you can hit this M button that brings up like a context menu. So you've got add to favorites, you can do delete the collection, which you would not want to do in this case because it's all of your songs. You can change the equalizer, you can go to play modes, and under play modes, that's where you can choose like shuffle, repeat all, single repetition, sequential play, which all work the same way they do on an iPod. I would generally just throw it in shuffle. You've got your repeat mode, so you can do repeat mode. So basically, I think that just meant that when it cycles all the way through, it would like go back to the beginning would be the idea. But yeah, so as far as like what I am actually doing with it, it's pretty much just take it, throw it into the car, throw it on play or play all, and have it on shuffle. And that's how I've been using it mostly. I think it's fine for that. I think for $30, you can't expect a whole lot out of it. But ultimately, in terms of the sort of premise of the whole series, so you want an iPod or so you miss your iPod, I don't think that this is going to like totally satisfy that itch. Like I said, it's okay. I think that it is nowhere near as good as an actual iPod. And so I'll probably make like a little tier list at the end of all of this and put that up. So at the moment, this is the top of the tier list, but it's also like the only thing on the list right now. So that's why. But yeah. All right. Thanks for watching.